Hello, and welcome back to the Life with Olives podcast. I am your host, Olives, and I welcome you into my realm of anxiety and life-changingness occasionally. I am Olives, and if you're new here, this podcast is about life with high-functioning anxiety, even if some days that might feel like medium-functioning anxiety or even low-functioning anxiety. And this podcast is also for people that have friends or family or various other loved ones who have anxiety, even if they don't, but they want to educate themselves and learn more about how to be helpful and loving to people that do have anxiety in their lives. Can we edit that out? I don't think we can. Well, let me just call my editor. Hello, me. I can't believe I'm doing this bit. Anyway, welcome back. It's October 1st, and you guys know what October 1st is? Aside from like the first day of Halloween, which if you're like me, runs all month long. No, Instagram actually informed me this morning that October 1st is National Podcast Day. Actually, it's International Podcast Day. So if you're here watching and or listening to this podcast, welcome and congratulations for celebrating International Podcast Day. I unfortunately didn't listen to any of my favorite podcasts today. I'm bad at supporting my fellow podcasters. I'm going to do better. But you have to understand that I'm currently in the 3/4 of the way through the audiobook for Ready Player One. I don't know if you've read it. I haven't seen the film. It was available on I have an app that connects me to the local library called Libby. And it pulls audiobooks and audio files and other books and sometimes movies. And you can enjoy these different types of entertainment from your library, but on your cell phone on the go, which is very convenient because if you're like me, you don't like to have to pay for Audible because you only get one book a month or you have to pay for more. I don't even know how Audible works. I don't want to deal with it. All I know is that I really enjoy my Libby app. And so I've been listening to Ready Player One nonstop. And it's so strange and weird, but I really have enjoyed it so far. And I've been having a hard time not listening to it. I bought myself some truly wireless earphones, like earbuds, not the AirPods, but the brand is called iFrogs. Supposedly it's a really great brand. I've been very pleased with my purchase so far. I got them at TJ Maxx for $20 instead of $65, so win there. I've had a really hard time not just popping them in my ear when I'm at work or when I'm driving, even though I have Bluetooth in my car and I do listen to my audiobook when I'm driving. I just really love those headphones. Hashtag not sponsored. Should be. Definitely have been enjoying Ready Player One an awful lot. So good. I'm hooked on the story. If you have read or seen the film or listened to Ready Player One, leave me a message or a comment or send me anything. And please, I need someone else to talk to about this. I think my roommates read it, but we see each other so seldom anymore, maybe 2, maybe 3 times a week. And then it's just like in passing and we have to discuss the issues and then carry on with our day. It's crazy. Being an adult is crazy. I see my dog sitter, who's also my best friend, more than I see my actual roommate. That's either good or bad. Either way, they both enrich my life and make me happy. So let's see. I'm enjoying Ready Player One a whole lot. But that pulls back to International Podcast Day. So I really hope you guys have been enjoying your favorite podcast so far. If you're tuning into my podcast, welcome. It is such an honor to have you here. We're going to jump into some interesting topics and some different news. If I didn't tell you before, Blue and I went to the vet last week on Friday. The doctors wanted to double check and make sure that his ear infection was gone. His ear infection is totally gone, but he gave him a little bit extra medicine just in case. Everything is fine on the Blue front. I'm looking at him right now. Podcasting is usually not a visual medium, but for those of you that are watching the YouTube channel, I won't show him to you because I'd have to turn my entire camera around and you have no idea how long it took me to get you to this point. It was very difficult. Like 10 minutes of work we're talking here, people. And I had to borrow some equipment and I had to switch out some light bulbs. Things have been very, very crazy and hectic around here. But he is snoozing soundly. My wonderful best friend and dog sitter took him for a run today, and he was really tired when he came home. Some dogs are really high energy and really intense and go for hours on end and still have a lot of energy left to play and be fun. And Blue would absolutely play with me right now if I wanted him to. but he's also exhausted and snoozing, and he's so cute. And I just can't believe it, so I think I'm going to leave him be. Also, you'll notice that I feel like every episode my background changes and my setup changes. Let me tell you a story about how I came home from work today. This is the laziest background telling story ever, but you know what? I'm my own person. This is a hobby. I don't make any money from this. I'm just having a good time. Let me tell you about how I came home from work today and the house felt like an ice box. And it's only October 1st. Like, is it already winter? I really don't feel like fall was supposed to be this cold already. And I'm probably wrong. I have been wrong before. Maybe the heater will kick on later tonight. I'm not sure. But I came home and I said, I have to do podcasting tonight. I have to film my YouTube podcast video tonight. I have to do my streaming for at least 2 or 3 hours tonight. I have a full schedule. I have a lot to get done on a Tuesday night. Thank God I don't work tomorrow. Thanks, Paige. By the way, shout out. I don't know if you're listening. I hope you're listening. But thanks for giving me the extra time this week to be able to work on my passions. So I was determined. I went and I got in the shower. I took a real hot shower and I actually moved. I don't know if you can tell, but I moved most of my equipment into my bedroom because it's smaller than my game room where I usually film this and my live stream, which is, if you're interested in that, I am streaming on Twitch right after I finish this podcast. I'll be streaming on Twitch tonight. Look for me at Olives903. I will be streaming Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, which is an ancient PS3 game. And when I say ancient, like actual like geeks, because I've been listening to Ready Player One and all of that stuff. No spoilers. I mean, you should know this by now. I didn't know this, but I was pleasantly surprised. Spoilers. It's a futuristic world where everybody's obsessed with the 80s. So if you were an 80s baby or also love the 80s, and haven't read or listened to Ready Player One, you are missing out. So much great trivia. Anyway, so I've been listening to Ready Player One, and they talk about how the games that came out between 1980 and 1989, and this game came out, I think, in either 2012 or 2013. When I talk about it, I describe it as the bastard cousin of Skyrim, because it came out a lot earlier, and it's an open world, kind of not really in D&D-ish. I mean, it's available in the PlayStation Store. You can only get it if you have a PS3 console. They have not made it available for PS4. I hope when the PS5 comes out, that changes. We'll have to see. I'm not sure. But it's like, I think it was only like $12 when I bought it, because I had a physical copy, and then sometime between moving out of my old apartment and moving in with Sage, it vanished. But it's one of my favorite games, even though the graphics are like ancient, and it's still one of my favorites. And on my streams, I've talked to people who also really love this game, so it holds up. Because, I mean, a lot of video game people are super into, their niches and what they're into. And this is what I'm into, so you should come watch me play. That's the longest self-promotion I've ever done. It will not happen again. You'll also notice I'm not wearing one of my signature beanies. That's because I just got out of the shower and I didn't want to ruin my super cute haircut and my super cool clean hair with a hat, which I know sounds stupid, but it's just really loose and free. And I know you can't tell because I'm wearing the largest pair of headphones on the planet. My father's going to make fun of me. That's another story. I told my dad about Twitch. He wants to watch me play, which on the one hand, as a child, this is very exciting for me. Like, my dad was always really, really busy working, and he couldn't really come to my events, like my school stuff or my performances, very often. So the child in me is super excited because, yay, my father is, going to participate and want to watch something that I'm involved in. But as a 28-year-old living in the time that we live in, I feel like my father's going to be disappointed in me and be like, really? This is what you're doing? This is how you spend your time? But I also showed him a little bit, and I told him that, Twitch is fun for people and you can make money if you really care, to do it seriously. And he was like, hey, anything to make you money, I'm totally okay with that. So that's what my father sounds like. That's It's actually nothing like what my father sounds like. My father is very well spoken. He's got a very rich, deep voice, and he always thinks about things before he says them. He's very good about dictating first. Sounding intelligent is the most important thing to him. Sounding well-read is more important than if you're me and you just vomit words out of your mouth and hoping that, it goes well and then nobody laughs at you. But even if somebody does laugh at you, that means that they think you're funny, and so that works. Who knows? I wish I had grown up with his, or carried on with his ability to orate. I wish I'd practiced that more and followed in his footsteps more. But anyway, we're getting way off topic. So the reason that we're in my bedroom today is because it's cold as heck in my house. My toes are freezing off. I left my slippers in my trunk of my car because I'm an idiot. So my toes are freezing off. Oh, Olivia, just put on socks. Who said that? You brilliant person. I really should have, and I probably will before I start my stream. But for right now, my toes are freezing and it is cold. So I don't know if you can see, my miniature heater is on and I've closed the door. And I'm secretly hoping that Sage shows up and she'll interrupt the podcast again because it's tradition. But she hasn't the last couple times because she's been off and away doing important things with her own life. And that's great. Go do important things with your life. It just feels good to be talking to you guys. And also, just honestly, the other part of why I wanted to do it in here is because it feels more personal. I just feel more personal. I could be this professional person and I could be, I could be in my game room and talking to you from a more professional, studious, you know what I mean, sort of position. But I feel like, part of the anxiety comes from not being true to yourself and not being honest with yourself and having to push things down and pretend like things aren't happening and pretend like you're not a certain person to make other people more comfortable and to make them okay with you. And just because you are so concerned with being accepted and being treated like everything is okay, that you sacrifice your personal comfort. And yeah, maybe someone will, trash talk you, or someone will make fun of you, or someone will tell you to your face that you suck. One of my favorite Jillian Michael moments from one of her podcasts, I cannot remember which one, and I should link and reference and give credit, but she's so delightful. I genuinely love her because in this particular interview with a person on the phone, just a random person that called her for advice, they were talking about how, they didn't want to rock the boat in a relationship, and they didn't want to upset one of their friends or a family member. And Jillian said, so what? If you upset them, then that tells you, I think I've talked about this before, I'm having deja vu. But anyway, Jillian says, if they do that, and if that person shows those kinds of true colors to you, they've done you a favor because they've shown you what you do and do not want in your life. And that really was so important to me. As a person with anxiety who fights sometimes too hard to keep everybody happy, to not rock the boat, to just make sure everybody gets along and that there are no problems, I struggle because then I suffer. My heart suffers, my brain suffers, and my body, honestly, anxiety affects every part of me. If you have anxiety, if you have panic attacks, you know what I'm talking about. Because it's hard to maintain the peace. It takes a toll on you physically, mentally, emotionally. Anyone who knows me will tell you, I cry a lot. I get emotional. I tear up. I'm not doing it right now, but thank God. Sometime a few weeks ago, I would have. I tear up. I get emotional over the weirdest stuff, over things that really shouldn't matter that much, but that to me, do in the moment. It reminds me of something, or it brings back a memory. Or the worst part is if there's a conflict between two of my coworkers that has nothing to do with me. I am nowhere near the conversation, and my chest gets tight and my shoulders, raise up, and I look down and I just focus on my work, and I look around a little bit to see if anybody else has noticed that things have suddenly gotten awkward, and no one else is showing signs of being uncomfortable except for the two people that are having their disagreement. And it's usually over pretty fast, because in my line of work, you don't have time to sit and fuss and make, issues about things that don't need to have issues about them. Like, if you dwell on anything, then it's going to slow you down, and we ain't got time for that. You got to get your stuff done. So that's one thing that I'm really working on, is not letting other people affect me so much, which is so much easier said than done. Let me speak to the other anxious people listening and tuning in and listening to my rambling voice right now. The hardest part of this podcast, the hardest part of being someone who does have anxiety or has, who is an empath, who reads emotions and body language and pulls information from that and gives their energy to other people. Thank you, Stephanie, from the Lightworkers Lounge. You've opened up my brain so much. Quick shout out there. The hardest part about being an empathetic person is that you need to let other people's emotions and other people's problems go. You need to let it go. You can't hold on to it. And it's so easy to sit here in my very comfortable bedroom with my heater on and my favorite candle burning and my video game propped up and ready to go in the comfort of my own home with nobody around me and no stressful situation. It's so easy to be able to say, just let it go. It's not a big deal. Like hippy dippy bullshit, like blah, whatever. It's so simple to be able to just say, do not let other people affect you. And I know that I'm a hypocrite right now, because so many people throughout the years have told me, Olivia or Olives or whoever you are, Jim, it was Jim, I don't know. You gotta just let things go. You can't let other people's problems, emotions, issues, bursts of anger are my biggest weakness, affect you so much. And I always fired back with, but I'm sensitive, I'm emotional, it makes me anxious, I can't just block it out. And you're right, if you don't try, you never will. And is it healthy to block out all human emotion and never have any empathy or care about anybody ever? Absolutely not. That is not healthy at all. That is not something that you should do. I'm definitely not condoning cutting off your humanity, because feeling other people's emotions and helping them through and sympathizing is part of the human experience. And we do need to take part in that. When people have problems, we need to listen and understand. I feel like that's a big part of what's wrong with our society right now, and how we're all, I just live in the United States, obviously, hi, accent. I live in the United States. Everything is a problem right now. Everything is a mess. I don't know what's going on in politics. I try not to even listen anymore. I hate turning on the news, because it's like, oh, somebody shot up another school, or somebody got offended. You can't make the okay hand sign anymore, because it's related to hate groups and racism now. That's been hard for me to stop doing. I do the okay hand sign. I'm afraid to do it on this video. I'm afraid to do it during the course of this podcast, because somebody's going to say, oh yeah, that bitch over at Life with Olives, she's racist. And that's the last thing I want, because I'm not racist. And I don't even want to get into that. It makes me sick. So many things, there are so many problems. And I don't know if it's just because I'm suddenly more aware of them because I'm older and I'm paying attention to the things around me more than when I was in college or high school, or obviously as a child. Middle school, I didn't even know that there was a president of the United States. I'm pretty sure they taught us that in elementary school. Guess who never paid attention? I did pay attention. I got very good grades. That's not the point. The point is that one of the problems I feel like in the world is we lack empathy. We have become so self-centered and concerned with money and status and things that we have forgotten what it is to take care of each other, to look out across any expanse and see your neighbors and care about them instead of just, like, if you're me, you are walking down the street with your dog and you see people that live close to you and you are immediately afraid because, what if they hurt me? What if they try to come at me? What if, or maybe let's not take it to that extreme. Maybe it's just, oh no, there's people, I don't want to bump into them. What if they try to talk to me? I better cross the other side of the road. And then you do. And then they're like, oh, I wonder why that person crossed the other side of the road. And it just makes them feel bad. This is a ramble. I'm rambling now. There's nobody here to stop me. I keep looking at the door, waiting for Sage to appear. Nothing yet. But this is going to be a shorter podcast because I really do want to start my live stream. But I also really wanted to talk to you guys just because this is therapeutic for me, and I hope that it's therapeutic for you. I genuinely feel like there needs to be more compassion, there needs to be more empathy, there needs to be more love in the world. And there's not. And it's getting worse every day. And every day I hear, from people at work or on the news. There's one news program that I watch. If you guys, have listened to me for a minute, you know that I love Philip DeFranco. I feel like he's a pretty unbiased news source, and I really care about what he has to say, and I love what he's, tried to do. So with his news station and all of that great stuff, I have so many ideas to fix things. But as an anxious person, my brain tells me that they're not worth anything, and that I'm not worth anything, and that everyone's out to get me, and everybody hates me. So it's a mess. Yeah. That took kind of a dark turn. I don't want to end this on a negative note. I've been looking forward to this all week. I'm like, oh, is it Tuesday yet? Ooh, I want to talk to my friends. I want to get together and chat with my people. Like, I really want to talk. Because I do really want to talk to you guys, and I love you so much. Even if I've never met you. Let's have a V for Vendetta moment. Even if I've never met you, I love you. Because that's, as much as some people are huge jerks. My hand motions have gotten very aggressive. I apologize. Even if some people in your life are huge jerks. For example, I was driving down the road the other day with my dog, and we were on our way to get dinner, and I was driving down the street. I was going 5 miles over the speed limit. The speed limit was 25. I was going 30. For the cops watching this, I'm sorry, but it should be faster on that road. But I understand it's also highly residential, even though it's a very main thoroughfare, even though it's not Main Street. Anyway. Sorry, I just thinking about it, I'm just so frustrated. I was driving down the road and I was going 30 miles an hour, and there was a man behind me, and he was tailgating me. He was super tailgating me. I could not see any of his headlights. I couldn't see not a glimmer because he was so close behind me. And I'm a very passive-aggressive tailgate dealer with her. I slowed down to 25 miles an hour, hoping he would get the hint, hoping he would back off. Oh no, he got even angrier, and he stayed, if it was possible, even closer behind me. So I said, okay, you don't want to back off. Maybe you're not getting the message. Maybe you think I'm texting or something. I slowed down to 20 miles an hour because I wanted to be safe, and I wanted him to back off of me. And I'm not a passive person when it comes to traffic. Like, if there's an issue, you need to back up. I have a dog in the back of my car. If you hurt my dog, I'm coming for you. And that's the end of the story. So, do you want to back up? As my whole podcast is trying to be about love and compassion. You come for my dog, I'm coming for you. Like, it's just, I become John Wick. I feel like a lot of us become John Wick when it comes to our pets. Or our children, maybe. I don't have any children. I have a fur baby, and he's very lovely and weighs 98 pounds. Very healthy. So he was tailgating me, and I slowed down to 20, and he got very upset. So he pulled into the median lane, sped past me, whipped out in front of me, cut me off, slammed his brakes on. Slammed? I had to slam my brakes on. I was so scared because, as everybody knows, regardless of circumstance, if you rear-end someone, you're at fault. And I've never been in a car accident. I have a pretty alright driving record. I've had a couple of tickets because I used to have a lead foot and then I got a dog. And if you have to speed up abruptly or brake abruptly and they go flying all over the car, you feel like trash. You genuinely feel like trash. And I didn't want that to happen for me or my dog. So I was trying to be safe, but I had to slam my brakes on. And Blue hit the back of my seat in the car. Not very hard, but enough. And I said some very choice words. And I am not proud of the things that I said in my car. And I will not tell you what I said, because it is not this podcast appropriate. Thankfully, I did calm down. But the moral of the story is nobody's perfect. Sorry, I'm so mad still thinking about it. Thankfully, he turned. I didn't have to follow him anywhere. He turned left. He didn't need to be so aggressive. He literally was turning, not 20 feet later. The moral of the story is, even if some people are the absolute worst, like that man was behaving the absolute worst in that moment, I doubt that means that he's always a trash person. And even if he is, there must be a reason for it. And a lot of people will call me a bleeding heart, and they'll tell me that, you shouldn't have so much sympathy for other people. But that's the point, is what I'm trying to make here, is that maybe if we cared a little more and had a little bit more sympathy for each other and the rest of the human race, maybe we could get some more done. And maybe that's my bleeding heart talking, or maybe that's my vagina talking. But I genuinely feel like a lot of our issues and a lot of our problems could be solved if we'd take a minute and listen to each other and figure our shit out. However, should you give people multiple chances and they keep taking advantage of you and they keep being awful to you and not respecting you, I give you 1000% full license to cut them out of your life. 100%. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I have made this mistake a lot. I am human. I am still learning. But there's also comes a point where you have to respect yourself and your feelings more than the other person's feelings. So I don't know. I have a lot of ideas, and in theory, a lot of them are really great. But maybe this is also why I'm not like a world leader or in a position of power. Maybe this is why I just, talk, to myself and into a camera by myself in a room that's actually still pretty cold, despite my heater being on. I don't know. I have a lot of theories and a lot of things, and I genuinely feel like more compassion wouldn't be amiss, and having a little bit more patience wouldn't be, just in general, like the world, with our neighbors, with our fellow nations, with whoever. A little bit more compassion and a little bit less selfishness could go a long way and could change some lives. But I also understand that human nature is a very complicated beast. And I don't always get what I want. But that's part of what makes life interesting, right? Is you just get what you're given. Wow, this wasn't supposed to be 30 minutes. This was supposed to be 20. Yeah. I talk a lot. Ask anyone who knows me. I talk an awful lot. Plus, you guys that come back and listen every week, I talk a lot. I got a lot to say. Speaking of which, though, I really would enjoy hearing from you guys. I want to hear, I would love some comments about what you'd like me to talk about, what you'd like to hear, debated, discussed, whatever. If you want to have me bring people on, if you want to, if there's people that I've talked about that you want to meet, I'll bring them on. You just got to let me know what you want to hear. I have a couple people that I'm working on trying to get in here. It's not easy for some reason. For some reason, nobody wants to come talk to me. That's not true. Kaden wants to come talk to me. The only problem is that the audio quality would be terrible. Still need to figure that crap out. Anyway. before this gets too egregious, I'm gonna hang up. What era is this? I am gonna go though, because I really want to start my live stream, and it's 8:30, and I still have to eat, so I can be interesting for the people that come to watch. So yes, the end of the show, shameless self-promotion time. If you want to purchase a hat that I'm not wearing, please look for me on Etsy at Olives Creations. I think Olives Creations. It was supposed to be Olives Creations Co., but I think it's Olives Creations Inc. You can follow me on Instagram at Life with Olives. You can follow me on Facebook at Life with Olives. I'm on Twitch tonight from probably about 9:15 to, well, let's say probably around midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning-ish. If you feel like staying up and hearing a lot more of my stupid voice. If you are listening to this podcast in the past or in the future, probably the future, and I'm no longer streaming, you can probably still catch me. I finally got all my equipment up and working, and so I'll be on there a whole ton more. Feel free to stop by, say hi, subscribe. I think it's follow and then subscribe. I'm actually not entirely sure how Twitch works with the whole subscription thing, so think about not getting any ads. And I'm pretty sure y'all don't want to see ads, because ads are the worst. Anyway, I'm gonna go. This has been the Life with Olives podcast. Tune in next week. Blue and I will be here, and we'll have a lot to say to you. So, yeah. Catch you guys on the next one. Bye!